program.
Hello there. Welcome to Blitz Transmissions. I'm Tommy, and welcome to the kickoff stream for the second annual March Madness Order 66 edition put on by yours truly. How we doing, everybody? Welcome to a morning stream. It's not too often that we do a morning stream here on Blitz Transmissions, unless it's for, of course, a Hasbro fan stream live reaction or, a panel live reaction or something like that. So it's cool to be streaming on a Sunday morning. I got a busy day ahead of me. That's the real reason that I'm streaming in the morning and not in the evening like I usually do. I'm really excited. I've got, it's going to be probably a quicker stream here. We're probably going to wrap this up in like an hour or so. I got a lot I want to cover, though. And you guys know how I am. When I start yapping, I start going, and there is no stopping me. So I'm really excited to put on this community event. Like I said, it's the second time we've put it on here on Blitz Transmissions, so I'm looking forward to it. So we'll pop right up, see who's in the chat real quick. We got Star Wars and Brews. Shout out to Star Wars and Brews, who is both a Rancor Battalion channel member here on YouTube and an ARC Trooper in the Patreon. He says, "Good morning, excellent peeps. Let the madness begin." Of course, we also have the Max Rebo Experience, who again, Rancor Battalion channel member and ARC Trooper in the Patreon. I want a blue one. I want a red one. I want a green one. Well, guess what? This is your opportunity to get all of the colors for the Clone Troopers today. We have SVNY.art. Good morning. Think Hasbro will do any from Brush Squad? Hey, man. You never know. They've done original designs before. And B-Sum75, good morning, everyone. Tops.375. Let's go, cloners. Sure hope there's an award for the gluppiest clone choice. We got Riley Bob in here as well. Execute Order 66. A $10 super chat from the one and only Star Wars and Brews. You are too kind, my brother. Finish the Bad Batch. Finish the Bad Batch indeed. That is for TVC. However, this is a Black Series poll here. So we got the Phantom Menace Dennis, the GOAT Iceman. Hey, Boss Nass is co-hosting. You a beep voting, you a clone troopers. Got a coffee? Got a whatever that word is? And ready to talk some clones. What's up, Renault as another ARC Trooper in the Patreon. We got Luffy in the chat. What's going on? And we got GXB. All right. Said some intros. Guys, thank you so much for joining me on this Sunday morning. I'm excited because I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory on what March Madness Order 66 edition is, and we'll kind of go from there. So, we do have, of course, the OGs, the first ones to create a March Madness bracket for Hasbro Star Wars lines. Got to give kudos to my boys over at SWTVC. They do the Vintage Collection bracket. They just revealed theirs on a live stream on their channel last night, and I know a lot of people, including myself, are pretty excited to get into the voting, which starts March 4th. Please go follow SWTVC on Instagram. There are a few clone troopers on that bracket. I love to show those guys some love, and they have been great mentors in the realm of creating community events for me, so I have to give a special shout out to them. As far as Black Series goes, I kind of wanted to put a little bit of a twist on the March Madness style event. Of course, we have the Black Series Most Wanted now, which is kind of the definitive community-driven polling that's done every single year for your most wanted Star Wars characters. That's the entire Star Wars universe, though, isn't it? And if you know me, if you know this channel, you'll know I'm a huge Clone Trooper fan. I'm a Clone Trooper obsessed. Cloner. That's my line. I'm a cloner, and I wear that tag proudly. But with the Clone Trooper obsession, there's a lot of people in my generation of the Star Wars fandom especially that are super, super into Clone Troopers, and especially with what the Clone Wars animated show did for Clone Troopers, giving them personalities, giving them character traits, things that make them individuals. You really latch onto the Clone Troopers, and it makes them a very special group of characters. And so growing up, I had all different colors of Clone Trooper action figure, but to me and to many Clone Wars fans, those Clone Troopers are more than just a different paint job on the same base action figure. Each Clone Trooper is an individual. Each Clone Trooper is something that you care about, someone that you care about, as opposed to just, different colors and different ways for them to repaint toys. Through this, I actually was expressing about a year ago almost. It'll be a year and 2 days. That I would like to see a Clone Trooper focused March Madness bracket or community event. Shout out to Hero Collections. Brandon over at the Hasbro team was kind of, gave me the nudge a little bit, like, you know what? Why don't you do that, Tommy? If it's a good idea, why don't you do that? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. So last year, I went ahead and we did the first Blitz Transmissions March Madness Order 66 edition. And so kind of looking at, how that went last year, I think that's the first thing that I'll jump into here on the sharing the screen segment here. So we'll pull up the Blitz Transmissions Instagram. If you scroll down far enough, you'll be able to find all this information yourself over on the Blitz Transmissions Instagram. So this is the polling data. So what I did, this is what we're going to do, same thing here this year, except this year I didn't do it last minute, so I had a lot more time to prep for it. We have the polling data from last year, just to give you guys kind of an idea of how things went last year, so that going into this year, you have a little bit of an idea of what clones did well, how, other characters did. So, taking a look right here, we have the March Madness from last year's polling data. So we have we had 610 total submissions across YouTube, Instagram, and Discord. 163 unique clones submitted. Now, part of the reason that you can do a full 64 character bracket for the Clone Troopers specifically is because there are so many of them. Of course, we have shows like the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch to thank for that, and of course, comic books as well. Really gave us a lot of unique clone designs here. But yeah, there's a lot of clones that are to be made in the Black Series, and I really wanted to give a spotlight to that with this event. Looking at last year's media representation for the 163 unique clones that people submitted, you had 86 of them coming from the Clone Wars, 19 coming from the Bad Batch, 16 coming from the Battlefront franchise, and 12 coming from the prequel trilogy, along with 7 of them coming from books and comics, 5 of them coming from the 2003 Clone Wars, and 18 of them coming from other ideas like concept art, Hasbro original figures, etc. Looking at last year's data a little further, we had 47 of the 163 clone troopers that people submitted last year were clone captains, commanders, officers, and then we had 54 of them were named clone troopers, not including the ranked clones, and then 62 of them were troop builders. There were clones that I left off the bracket last year. This could be subject to change this year depending on how these submissions go. We'll get into that next. But I did leave out the Bad Batch Season 3 clones that were with Captain Rex and Captain Hauser on Teth, I believe it was, just because as you can see here, all of them had enough votes to make the bracket, and there are even more than the 4 you see pictured here. I believe there are 7 of them total with unique clone paint designs in this little unit here. A lot of them are blink and you miss it. A lot of them actually die. I do not include Nemec and Fireball in here because they have enough screen time and they show up a lot more. They're also a lot more unique in their paint design too. So we have these 4 here just pictured as examples. All 7 of them had enough votes from people to make the bracket. I did leave them off the bracket, though, because I felt like I wanted to have a more diverse Clone Trooper bracket. I think this year that's going to be subject to change. I think I want this to be more completely driven by the community. So again, if all 7 of these guys make the bracket, I think I'm just going to have all 7 of them make it to the final bracket here. Finding pictures for them might be difficult, but I am going to try my best to get them all on there if they get voted enough like they did last year. But they were omitted despite their popularity. Of course, Hasbro's Star Wars team and Lucasfilm, they did take a look at all of the data that you're seeing here. This is something that has shown up in Hasbro Lucasfilm meetings, so they do know that these clones are still very much wanted, even though I didn't put them on the bracket last year. And the same can be said for the Domino Squad cadets. Now, this one I felt like they didn't necessarily need to be on the bracket, not all 5 of them at least, just because it's the same exact outfit. They all, at this point, they don't have tattoos, they don't have any different haircuts, it's all just carbon copy clones on very minorly different armor designs. So what I did here was I put Heavy on there because he had a little bit more submissions in this particular outfit than the rest of the Domino Squad members, but I did leave them off, the rest of them, just to, again, make for a more diverse 64 bracket. That said, though, that again might be subject to change this year. We'll see how the submissions shake up this year, but Yeah, so that was the polling data from last year there, and you'll see I'm on the Blitz Transmissions Instagram again. And then, of course, we had our bracket reveal last year, and our final bracket, you see this image right here. We had all of the names of the characters, all the lineups, all the matchups, and it was a lot of fun. And, of course, last year, there was the winner of the Blitz Transmissions bracket here was the Galactic Marine. So there it is. There's the final image there. And here's a little graphic I whipped up last year. Last year's winner was the Galactic Marine. Now, there's a couple things I want to say about last year's bracket that's going to put us in an interesting position for this year. So what's interesting about this year's bracket is that none of the 64 clones from last year's bracket have been made. At least I don't believe so. Because I know that I left the 327th Star Corps clone trooper off the bracket last year, just because he was already rumored through like those leaks. Remember when 5017 set had all those leaks all the time? I'm trying to see if maybe Commander Bakara was on here last year. I don't remember if Commander Bakara even made the bracket. That would be interesting if he didn't even make the bracket. You go through all this data all the time, guys, and it's just, so much. So we have all these different matchups here. You can see we did a ton of matchups every day, and get excited because we're going to be doing the same thing on the YouTube community tab. So on the YouTube posts tab on Blitz Transmissions YouTube channel, that'll be the only place you vote on this. It's a lot more loose. It's a lot more off the cuff than the polling was for Black Series Most Wanted. With Black Series Most Wanted, there wasn't this competition part of it like there was with like there is with a March Madness bracket. With Most Wanted, it was more like we were just polling what the community, gauging what the community wants to see most as far as specific characters in the Black Series. Whereas with this event, it's more geared toward getting, clone trooper repaints. So that really is, and we all know we want clone troopers. If you're participating in this bracket, it's a given that you want clone troopers. So, yeah, so maybe other than Commander Bakara, he might be the only one that made the bracket last year that got made. But, I mean, needless to say, we still have tons and tons and tons of clone troopers that need made in the Black Series. So let's scroll right on up on the Blitz Transmissions Instagram here. It's almost like I post way too much on this page. But now that brings us to this year's Blitz Transmissions March Madness Order 66 edition for the Black Series. So I have a couple posts here, and the newest one is the Choose Your Troopers phase. So this is a post. You can see this on Instagram. If you comment on this post, this is how you get involved. So this is, again, a lot easier and a lot more off the cuff than the typical, the way that we ran Black Series Most Wanted. So you can comment on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, X, or Discord, or Patreon. Any of those 5 platforms, you can comment what clone troopers you want to be made in the Black Series line. Let me check the chat here real quick, see where you guys are at. Black Series Lat? I want a Black Series ATTE for 2028. That's all I'm saying. I would buy a Black Series ATTE for the Clone Wars 20th in 2028 here. We got Star Wars and Brews coming in. Galactic Marine and Kashyyyk 41st Scout are needed desperately. What's funny about last year's bracket was that was the final matchup. It came down to the final round was the Galactic Marine and the Kashyyyk Trooper. And of course, Galactic Marine took the win. Makes a lot of sense. I hope he gets made soon just because there's a lot of synergy there in the line. It's like a logical next step. Considering we already have Ki-Adi-Mundi and Commander Bakara. Literally, you get that clone trooper in the Black Series, and you're completing that scene from Revenge of the Sith, that Order 66 scene. Pong Krell, Papa Pong was not a cloner, but we need to get these clones in here for Papa Pong to break some backs. There are a ton, I agree, from the Bad Batch that are needed from Black Series still. And then Max Rebo talking about the Clone Liberation Front. Avix, what's going on? Hasbro said it takes about 18 months from design to release. I can't say much, but what I can say is that this year is going to be a year of clone bingo from last year's Clone Trooper bracket. So hopefully we'll be seeing it. If what I've heard is true, if what I've heard comes to fruition, we're going to see some really, really cool Clone Troopers in the Black Series this year. So, do you think Do you think Hasbro is listing differently now? Because yes. So Most Wanted is another one of those community fan polls that Hasbro has used the data for, and they've taken pretty seriously. And it will. What I could say is it will be affecting what comes out in 2027 and beyond. It will have an effect. Will it be like all 12 characters are going to get made in the next 18 months? No, of course not. Because they have, when new media comes out, they have to divert funding and tooling and, budget to that kind of stuff. And there's a lot that comes into play with what they're allowed and not allowed to do. And they do have like a 5-year plan. They kind of have a loose idea of what they want to do. But it will play a role in stuff that's going to come out as early as 2027. So get ready for that. Blink 3 times if we see new theatrical clones. Okay, if you can count, then hope that helps. But yeah, so I just wanted to run over the rules a little bit here, just kind of how this event will be run. You have until pretty much from now until Thursday, March 5th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. After that, I will not be accepting any more submissions for the March Madness Order 66 edition here. So if you want to get your submissions in, you can comment here on this Instagram post. If you comment on this YouTube live stream on the replay as well, I'll accept that too as a submission. There is a post on my YouTube post tab that you can comment on. You can comment on X, you can comment on TikTok. My Discord has a dedicated Order 66 March Madness channel. You can also put in there what clone troopers you want to see. And then on my Patreon as well, for my ARC troopers in the Patreon, you can submit there. Now, there is no limit to how many clones you can submit. So as where with Black Series Most Wanted, you could submit your top 12. This is going to be unlimited. You could put every single clone trooper ever if you really wanted to. It would be a pain in the ass for me to put in and submit them all, but if that's what you want to see, then that's what we'll do. So technically on that front too, if you commented on multiple platforms, if you went to X and TikTok and Discord and Instagram and all the different places you can comment, then that counts as multiple votes. I'm not going to be a stickler about, oh, I saw you commented on another platform. No. If you want to comment on multiple platforms and you want to make sure that your characters are going to get in there, then you can do that. Again, this is completely community driven, so it's going to be completely driven by, what we want to see in the line. And as a community, if you're really enthusiastic about clone troopers, then yeah, if you want to put in multiple votes, on different platforms, no one's stopping you. Let's see. This is a big one here. I want to make sure I drive this one home here. Only clones that have not been made yet in the Black Series will make the bracket. No updates or redos. So if you want Phase 2 Captain Rex on the 2023 clone body, sorry, it's not happening. This is not the event for that. Black Series Most Wanted is an event where you can put that and put an update to an existing figure. This is something where it's going to be completely geared toward us getting a more diverse spread of Clone Trooper characters and Clone Trooper designs out in the Black Series line. So that is much more the focus of this event, is new characters. I don't care if the last time this clone got released was on the awful 2013 clone body that can't articulate worth a damn. This is going to be one of those events where it's like, technically the character already exists, so they could already be thinking about re-releasing and updating that figure. This is going to be ones where we kind of want to pick some stuff that's kind of off the wall, kind of out there a little bit. So that's my one thing I tell people is I will not count submissions for redos or updates. Now, please specify specific looks or appearances for each clone if necessary. Otherwise, the debut or first appearance of that clone trooper will be assumed. Most commonly, and this is something that I added to this year's rules that I did not have on last year. Most commonly, what ends up happening is a lot of people will put like, I want Clone Trooper Hardcase, I want Clone Trooper Kicks. Most of the time, I'm sure that they're talking about their Phase 2 looks, but a lot of people forget that those clone troopers showed up in Phase 1 first. You had all those guys show up in that first episode where Captain Rex gets sniped by that commando droid on Seleucami. They meet Cut LaQuain. So a lot of people forget about that, so they forget to specify, I want the Phase 2 look. Similarly to another clone trooper in particular, Clone Commander Pons. There are people who want Commander Pons in his Attack of the Clones look, where he's just a yellow Phase 1 Clone Commander. But then he has his much more unique design in the Clone Wars animated show. So if you want, a specific look, please specify when you comment what look for what trooper you want. Otherwise, I'm just going to assume that you're talking about the debut or first appearance of the clone character. I will try to use context clues, though. If you say, like, all of the Umbara clones, and, you don't specify Phase 2 on them, obviously, with context clues, I'm going to assume you mean the Umbara versions of those clones. Now, the next thing here, the full bracket will be revealed on Friday, March 6th. We will be live here on Blitz Transmissions once again on Friday, March 6th to reveal the full bracket, and I will also reveal the schedule. After those streams are over, I will make posts on Instagram and all the other Blitz Transmissions social media, so you guys will be able to reference the schedule. It'll be pinned on Instagram and such. Again, you guys will be able to reference the schedule. You'll be able to reference all this kind of stuff. And we will begin voting March 7th. So we will execute Order 66 on March 6th, and then on March 7th, we will get into some more actual polling and voting, and that'll be where it all kind of kicks off. And it's going to be a blitz, pun intended, for the month of March here. It's just going to go right from March 7th all the way to March 31st when the winner is revealed. So I'm really excited. I really am. I'm hyped for this event. This is a fun event. Again, it's a lot more off the cuff than Black Series Most Wanted. That one was a lot more serious than this one. Now, I did want to plug, just for my TVC fans, there will be a similar event to this Black Series event in TVC, probably in May or June. So just be prepared for that. It's my little tease for it. That's all I'm going to say right now for my TVC people out there. There will more than likely be another clone-focused event in May or June, specifically for TVC. So, because I know I see some TVC people in here. Let's see. We got... Top says 200,000 submissions already, with 1 million more well on the way. But yeah, I mean, you guys know I've been getting way more into TVC a lot recently, and so as much as I love my Black Series clones, I love my TVC as well. So I figured we should spread the love, and as the resident cloner here, I will bring that event to fruition come probably again May or June. So, all that out of the way, I think that's all that I have to talk about when it comes to this. So again, I'm going to repeat it. Comment on this Instagram post. You can comment on my YouTube channel, either on this stream, on the replay, or you can comment on the post that's already up on the post tab on the Blitz Transmissions YouTube channel. You can comment on this same post on X, on TikTok, in the Blitz Transmissions Discord, in the Syndicate Discord, and also on Patreon. So all different places you can comment on how many, all the different clones you want. There is no limit to how many clones you want. Again, I'll show that there. No limit. You have until March 5th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Once it hits the stroke of midnight and it becomes March 6th, it's done. No more submissions. I will not be accepting submissions at that point. Only clones that have not been made yet in the Black Series will make the bracket. So you can submit redos and updates. I'm just not going to count them. And then, of course, the full bracket will be revealed on March 6th. And please specify specific looks and appearances for each clone if it's necessary. Obviously, if it's like Commander Mayday, I don't need you to specify from the Bad Batch. Yeah, that's the only show he showed up in. It's the only time we ever see him, so he only has that one appearance in that show. As far as clones that are not technically clone troopers, you can still submit those. If you want Omega in her prisoner outfit, she's still a clone. You can still do that. If you want Emery Carr from the Bad Batch, she is a clone. You can still do that. It has to be a Jango Fett base genome clone. I know some people were asking Cutla Quain. No, yes, you could put Cutla Quain. Sorry, I saw Max's comment. If it's a Vale's Toy Store original design, no. This has to be a clone trooper that I guess that should be something that I should have put on the post. We'll put a note. Remember that for next year. This is something so thank you, Max, for bringing this up. We will have, the only ones I'll be accepting are either ones that have appeared in a specific media, and you have to, again, specify what media they're from if necessary, And I will accept figures, clone troopers that were Hasbro original design action figures, because that is in basically their reference library. They can actually bring those in and update those. So if it's like the ATTE squad from the animated Clone Wars line, if it's any made up clone trooper that Hasbro made to sell a toy, you can choose that. So like 442nd Siege Battalion, the Mace Windu 187th Purple Clone Troopers, which we already have in the Black Series, but there is an Airborne Trooper as well for that unit. Things like that, where it doesn't show up on screen anywhere, but if Hasbro made an official figure for it, yes, you can submit those. So those are allowed. Let's see. Anything else I want to talk about here? I think that's pretty much it. Again, I'm just trying to really get the word out this year on the submissions phase. You can see people have already started submitting in the comments here, so that's awesome. Hopefully throughout the next 5 days here. And again, that's the other thing. You get 5 whole days to sit on it. I know there's a lot of Clone Trooper fans like myself that really, really want a lot of different Clone Troopers in the Black Series, So this is going to be a fun one. Again, this is also a great event because for Hasbro, it kind of tells them what repaints are going to work best. Because with Hasbro, a lot of these Clone Troopers require little to no new tooling. They already have almost all the tooling for a lot of these available. So if they're going to want to reuse existing sculpts or have minimal new tooling, an event like this tells them what repaints to do next, which ones are going to be most well received by the community, which ones are going to perform better than maybe some of the ones they're picking right now. While I will buy every Clone Trooper that comes out in the Black Series, no matter what, I am in complete agreement with a lot of fans that, some choices that they've made recently are a little bit head-scratcher compared to some other designs and troopers and things like that. They're like, why haven't they done this yet? Like, named clones that have a lot of screen time, main and supporting characters, things like that. So, with that, I think that about wraps up everything that I wanted to discuss on the Instagram post. Again, please go comment. Here we are on the live stream here. And then I had this really cool ad that I put together the other day. I was really proud of that. But this is the Black Series March Madness Order 66 edition 2026. Now, before we head out, I wanted to show off some of my predictions here, or my most wanted clone troopers for the Black Series. So I didn't do this last year because I felt like it was gonna like skew like what people ended up picking. I didn't want to be influencing what people submitted, but my friends over at SWTVC, again, they do the TVC March Madness, which starts March 4th. Get ready. Better get over there. Follow them on Instagram so you can participate in that. They have they put their own top 25s together every year, and they talk about their own top 25. So this isn't really a top 25, but these are the clone troopers that I, Tommy, want to see make the bracket. These are the ones that I will be, quote unquote, submitting myself. So these guys are each going to get one vote on my account here. So here we have my most wanted clones. Now, I will be sharing this on Instagram and such, after this, but obviously, let it be known, I wanted to fit a million more clone troopers on here. I wanted to fit the Bad Batch in their Season 3, all blacked out stealth armor. I wanted to include the Munilitz 10 ARC troopers from 03 Clone Wars. I wanted to include, does anyone remember Sergeant Boomer and Sergeant Kano from the Republic Heroes video game back in the day from the late 2000s? I was going to include those on this graphic. I was going to include, who else? Lieutenant Thayer, you see there, Jack and Reese, his other 2 clone troopers that accompany him in the premiere episode of the Clone Wars show. So many more clones I wanted to include. The rest of the Rancor Battalion commanders. There were so many I wanted to include, but I kind of had to limit it. It was just getting too crowded on the post, and I was like, all right, fine. I'll just leave it to this. You get the idea. If you can't tell, I'm a huge Clone Wars fan. So, we'll kind of cover these maybe one by one a little bit here, just very briefly. Again, obviously, had to put them front and center. ARC Commander Blitz. Are you dumb? You thought I wasn't going to put Blitz on here? Blitz did not perform very well in March Madness last year, might I add. He got beat out, but he had a really tough matchup right out the gate. And so I think he barely scooted by, and then he ended up getting beat in like round 2 or something. But then again, it's the community's bracket. So if you want something more than Blitz, don't feel obligated to put Blitz down because it's, the mascot of the channel, because I really want him. That is not what this is about. This is about what you want. This is about what you, a community member, specifically want. That's why you get the opportunity to submit all the clone troopers that you want to see. So we'll kind of go through here. Obviously, we got Blitz. My other 2 big ones here, it's why I put them in the center here. Clone Trooper Denal. Come on, guys. Denal was the cool clone before all the clones got cool and unique markings in the Clone Wars. I was devastated when he died. I really want him to come out. And he literally would just be a repaint of the existing Clone Trooper 2023 sculpt. I would like them to update the ARC Trooper sculpt if they do Blitz. I want him to have the bicep swivel and the O-ring shoulder armor. I want him to have the detached knee armor as opposed to the knee armor that's glued to the thigh like the current ARC Trooper. There are some updates I want on Blitz. However, when it comes to Denal, he could just be a repaint. He'd be a really easy one at that. He's literally just the Clone Trooper Lieutenant, quote unquote, that came out in that Ahsoka 2-pack a couple years ago with a different helmet paint job. Literally the same figure. And then we have Clone Lieutenant Thyre on the right of Blitz here. That is a character that I really, really want to see come out in Black Series. Again, very minimal new sculpting. Same pauldron as the Phase 1 Rex we have right now from Ahsoka. We have all the other parts for him. You would just need to give him a helmet with the macro binoculars. And that would be it. We would get a really cool figure out of that. You can see lots of clones from animation. There's actually, now that I'm looking, there's only one clone on here. That's from Revenge of the Sith, and it's the Kashyyyk Trooper here. I didn't include Galactic Marine on here because he won last year's bracket. So I was like, I don't really see a need to submit him again this year because I feel like it's pretty established. Hasbro gets the picture that the community wants the Galactic Marine. So we have Clone Commando Gregor. Obviously, a lot of people want him. Commander Mayday. I saw a couple people in chat already talking about him. Got some Wolfpack clones on here. I picked the Phase 2 looks for Comet. And you can see Sinker and Boost over here next to each other. I don't even know if you guys can see my cursor. Probably not. On the right side, the other 2 Wolfpack clones are Sinker and Boost. You can see I've got Waxer and Boyle. Boyle is on the left side in the orange here, that orange Phase 1 clone. And then Waxer is on the right side here. Those guys are a great duo. Again, straight repaints. Straight repaints here. Nothing new other than paint. Get them out, and they will sell like hotcakes. We've also got some unique clone commanders from the Clone Wars. Commander Stone, Commander Doom, Commander Jet, Commander Pons. We have Captain Locke in the top right here by Captain Fordo in his Phase 2 look. I feel like a Fordo would be super, super sick. And Captain Locke, a lot of these too, it's funny, I picked a lot of these, like Commander Stone and Captain Locke. I picked them specifically because I had action figures of them from the 3 3/4 inch animated Clone Wars line. That was honestly my big reason for picking those. I have just such an odd attachment to them because they are, even in the grand scheme of, the unique clone trooper designs, they're very niche. They're almost like Glepshido clones. So it's like, they're just repaints. Like, Captain Locke is just a Commander Fox Phase 1 repaint. And then, Commander Stone is just a Phase 1 clone with holsters, and just some Coruscant Guard markings. And then, of course, we have the ARF Trooper. I think the ARF Trooper, I don't know how Hasbro hasn't made that one again. It's literally just a different helmet sculpt on a regular Clone Trooper body. I feel like that's a given. The Umbara clones, you can see I have Kix, Jesse, Hardcase, Tup, and Dogma all along the front here. Who else do I have on here? I've got the... I think that's it. Yeah, that's... Oh, Captain Hauser, obviously. You see I have him up here on the top right. And then another one that's really important to me. I've been really wanting this guy now is... Here he is, the Alpha Class ARC Trooper. Yeah. And there we go. Preach, Wolfpack. Get Delta Squad on TVC packs. They need to get them out, I agree. But, yeah, so this is some of mine. Again, I want other ones too that I just... The graphic was getting too crowded. I didn't want to, put too many on here. But I wanted to put on, and I will put them on my submission, the Bad Batch stealth armor, where they black out their armor when they go to Mount Tantus at the end of Season 3. I also want all of the CX clones, the whole CX clone squad that fights the Bad Batch at the end of Season 3. I would love to see I'd love to see Jack and Reese. I'd love to see Fives and Echo in their Phase 1 501st looks, where they have like the 4 heavy printing on their armor, either on the leg or on the arm. I want to see the rest of the Rancor Battalion ARC commanders, so along with Blitz. I honestly would prefer if they just did a 4-pack and knocked them out all at once, since they're all just repaints and hopefully a retool. I'd want Blitz, Colt, Havoc, Hammer. Give me all 4 of them. I'm looking off to the left here because TVC, believe it or not, I feel like they do more Clone Trooper designs than Black Series does sometimes. I would love to see them knock out the rest of the Battlefront 2 ARC Troopers, but again, I'd like to see the rest of them on a retool. I think that, especially with that big pauldron, a bicep swivel is necessary, the O-ring shoulder armor is necessary, and just again, to keep it from looking clunky, detaching the knee armor and not gluing it like they've been doing with a lot of clones recently. There's a lot, there's so many. There's so many. Yeah, Crosshair with removable hand. You could just include that with the Season 3 stealth armor look. Plenty of clones, guys. Fireball, Nemec, all the Bad Batch Season 3 clones. I would love to see so many of them. Phase 1 Wolf, all the Phase 1 commanders. There's so many, and like I said, I couldn't possibly fit them all on this one graphic. There we go. Mig L Arts coming in the chat. I would like to see a Galactic Marine, and a Galactic Marine. A Galactic Marine would be nice too. And again, he did win last year's bracket. I wouldn't be surprised if he got revealed in the next 12 to 18 months. I wouldn't be surprised. Not that I know anything, because I don't. But I wouldn't be surprised if that figure got revealed. And honestly, in part because of the Blitz Transmissions March Madness bracket. This is, in fact, something that Hasbro has looked at. If you don't believe me, you can go check out Hero Collections on Instagram, and you can see his official Hasbro slide that he has used at presentations and meetings with Lucasfilm, and you can see the full bracket for the Blitz Transmissions March Madness Order 66 edition. So that's that. It's really not debatable. I mean, if you don't believe me, don't believe me. But yeah, so this is my full-ish submission list. I will post this on Instagram and stuff. Maybe help to drum up some hype for this event. But yeah, so you guys, again, we'll run it over one more time here. I should probably pull that up on the Instagrams here. But we'll run over the rules one more time, and then we'll close out the stream. Like I said, this was going to be pretty quick. I kind of wanted to just cover like the history of Black Series, March Madness Order 66 edition, and I wanted to cover, just some of the base rules, just so we could communicate those here on the stream. So close that out. I'll share the other tab here. Bada bing, bada boom. Please comment on this post. It will not count as a submission. You have to comment on this post that you see here on Instagram. This same post is on TikTok, X, YouTube, Patreon, Discord, both the Blitz Transmissions server and the Syndicate server. You can comment an unlimited number of clones. It says right here, there is no limit to how many clones you can submit. If you want to submit 1 clone, if you want to submit 100 clones, you can submit all those clone troopers for this bracket here. And then, of course, it is the submissions do end at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, March 5th. Stroke of midnight, when it becomes March 6th here on the East Coast, it's over. It's done. You can't submit anymore. And then, of course, we have that we will only be accepting submissions for clones that have not yet been made in the Black Series line. So if it's a clone character in a specific look that's already been made and you just want an update to it, save that for Black Series Most Wanted at the end of the year. This event is for new looks and designs only. Please specify specific looks or appearances for each clone if necessary. Otherwise, debut or first appearance will be assumed. So again, if you want those Umbara clones, please specify you want the Phase 2 look for your Hardcase, your Jesse, your Kicks, etc. Because they also do have Phase 1 looks that are in the Clone Wars. And if you don't want that vote to go toward Phase 1, please put it in as phase 2. Again, I will try to use context clues with your submission, but if I can't discern which version you're talking about, it will be assumed that the first appearance is being mentioned there. And then, of course, we have the full bracket. Tune back in on March 6th. We will execute Order 66 on March 6th. The full bracket will be revealed on Friday, March 6th, along with the full schedule, and all that will get posted on the gram. So, guess I should close things out here. Does anybody have any questions about how the March Madness Order 66 edition 2026 will be run? Does anybody have any questions? Please drop them in the chat right now if you guys have questions, or if you're watching on the replay, feel free to drop questions into the comments as well. Again, I will count, if you comment on this replay and you say, what clones you want to see, I will count that as well. As much as I would prefer you go comment on the Choose Your Troopers post, I will accept, comments on this replay as well. And then to Max Rebo's point, which I was glad that he put this in here. This was something that I neglected to mention on the post. If it's a Vale's Toy Store or, knockoff clone or an original OC design, I will not accept that as a, it's got to be something that either has shown up in a comic strip, a book, a TV show, a movie, something, or it has to be a clone trooper design that Hasbro made an original action figure for to sell a toy. Please specify which one you're talking about, excuse me, in that case. But I feel like that, I appreciate again, Max, for bringing that point up, because that's something that I think needs brought up. So, if nobody else has any questions, I'll give it a couple more minutes here. If you guys don't have any questions about this or any, comments, anything like that, we'll close out the stream and go get submitting, because this is going to be one of those where there's been pretty tight races, Mig L Arts, I'm just glad a March Madness edition like this exists. Me too, man. This, again, comes solely from my childhood obsession for clone troopers. I've always had a fascination, and I've always been enamored by clone troopers. I mean, Commander Blitz is my costume for the 501st Legion. He's the mascot of the channel. I've always been a huge fan of the super niche clone trooper designs that the Clone Wars brought in. And the Clone Wars is really, with the clone troopers specifically, is really what made me such a deep fan of that show and of the clone troopers, because it took something that was just, wow, it looks cool, and made it into, every clone has a personality. And even when I was a kid and I would get the toys, every clone trooper that I got, even if they looked identical to one another, was an individual to me, so that, and I know I have plenty of friends that grew up with the Clone Wars that feel the same way. What is Clone Quadruple Zero from the Bad Batch name? I'm assuming, are you talking about, if you're talking about like the main bad guy clone from season 3, his name is CX-2, Clone CX-2, that's his name. I usually a lot of us just call him Clone X or CX Clone, but there is a whole squad of them as well. I personally am putting every member of that whole squad in there as well. Avix, did you ever mention how you'll set up the brackets and matchups? Yes, so this is done by popular vote, and through that will determine seeds 1 through 64. Now I am going to be doing it a little different than I did last year. Last year what I did was I basically had like 4 quadrants of the bracket, and so I would set up the matchups, like I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd do like 1 per quadrant. I think I'm going to do it a little bit more akin to how other brackets are done, where it's seed 1 versus seed 64, and that's pretty easy for me to determine because of popular vote, and that's all thanks to you guys submitting and saying what clone troopers you want most. So that is how it'll be set up. A little bit different this year. It'll still be organized in a specific way, like a pre-thought out way. I'm not just going to be like plopping clone troopers randomly all over the bracket, but yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun. The matchups, some of the matchups last year were literally, because I think we had between 250 and 300 votes on each matchup all throughout the whole month. So that was really fun. I really appreciate the community for really stepping up, especially because clones are a niche within a niche. There's like the Star Wars Black Series community, and then there's the Clone Trooper community within that. So it was cool to see so many people participate. But there were some matchups that would be like up until the 24-hour mark when, I would keep it going because I'd check it like after 24 hours. It would be 50-50 or 51-49, and it would keep flip-flopping. And I'd be like, wow, like it was just a lot of fun. And it was very like, nail-biting at times to watch those matchups go down. But yeah, there is going to be a specific way that this is run. So if anybody else has any questions about how this will be run for Order 66 edition of March Madness, please let me know. Drop it in the comments. I'll be here for a couple more minutes. I'll just, hang out for a few more minutes here if you guys have any questions or, comments you guys want to make. Peak Obi-Wan. Love the Parwan. Is that how you pronounce the alien species name? From the Box episode of the Clone Wars. Any clone with a name removes their helmet, had unique deco, and or a speaking role in media, I think deserves a figgy. I agree. I think, I say this all the time, they could make any clone trooper ever from any media and I will buy it. I will buy any clone trooper from any Star Wars media. I'm such a huge cloner. And I have so much clone merchandise, not even just from TVC and Black Series, but also like from older lines from when I grew up, like the very first, years that Clone Troopers were created. I have so much Clone Trooper specific merch. Again, these characters mean so much to me. And I really love that I can do an event that means so much to me personally, but also means so much to everybody in the community that shares that same feeling that I have about Clone Troopers. So, yeah. But again, I'll give it one more minute here if anybody has questions, comments, concerns. If you have any bitches or gripes, perhaps, then I'll address those here in the chat. But yeah, all the posts are live right now on all the Blitz Transmissions social media, the Choose Your Troopers posts. So, you know what, I may as well show it off on YouTube here as well. If anybody has, ones that they want to submit, you can check out the Blitz Transmissions post here. Let me pull up my screen one more time. Share your screen. Check it out. So here's my channel. I made this really cool header, by the way. I'm really proud of it. It's like such a dumb, like pointless thing people don't notice, but and hey, you can see I was watching the it's SWTVC stream. So we've got, here it is right here. Here's the post on YouTube. You can see a couple people commented already. You can check out, I explain it very briefly here. So here it is on YouTube. So again, if you don't have Instagram and you don't want it, or you don't want to post on Instagram, you can post on any platform you want. So again, it's on Patreon. It's on the Blitz Transmissions Discord. There's a specific channel for this event in the Discord. And it's also on the Syndicate Discord. It is on this post on YouTube. It is also on Instagram, X, and TikTok. So that's actually, I think, 6 or 7 places. I know it's not cool anymore. 6 or 7 places where you can post. So again, if you want to post on multiple platforms, I will count your submission on multiple platforms. So that's another thing to note too. I will count all that. Let's see, Scott, what about a Republic Commando Delta Squad? So I'm going to say I will not accept those because they already exist. What I will accept is if you want to put in Scorch from the Bad Batch, because in the Bad Batch, Scorch has a different backpack than he does in the Republic Commando video game. So that technically is a different appearance. So if you want a new Scorch, I would accept that. But because we technically already have the Delta Squad members in the Black Series right now, I would say no, they already exist. If you want updates to them, then an event like Black Series Most Wanted, which is going to come back in November, is an event for that, because we do accept updates and redos in that event. Awful Risk Vader, what's going on? Thanks for joining me today. Do most people want the gray Phase 2 Sinker and Boost or Phase 1 Brown? The Phase 2 versions were what made the bracket last year. But there were votes for both Phase 1 and Phase 2. I personally would buy both of them because I like all of them there. Now we need a March Madness Jedi Glup Oppo Rancisis in the RL Poof edition. Hey, I will say, man, on Black Series Most Wanted, when I was counting all the submissions for that, there were a lot of submissions for both Yariel Poof and Oppo Rancisis, and they were probably some of the highest Glup Jedi that made that there. And also, Svinny Art, also appreciate you, brother. Thanks so much. This is a really fun event to put on, and it's also a lot more fun and off the cuff than like Black Series Most Wanted. It's very fun, but it's a lot bigger than like a niche of clone troopers. There's only so many clone troopers, as opposed to, I think the final list, which we are still working on that, it's just taking a long time, is the master list for Most Wanted had over 1,000 different Star Wars characters. It was insane how many unique characters people picked for their Most Wanted. But it was also awesome because it really spoke to like how much Star Wars reaches different generations and different people in different ways. So that was cool. But you kind of will see the same thing with this event too, because you'll kind of see a lot of clone troopers from comics and versus books and shows and media and stuff. Avix, a little more niche, but would you ever do a smaller bracket for Hot Toys figures? I don't know. It's funny you say that because I would say no, but I was kind of looking at my previous Hot Toys reviews, and they perform a lot better on my channel than I thought they would. Considering I'm much more like a Hasbro Star Wars focused channel, I would say. But yeah, so, I mean, I'm not opposed to it, but there's also there's only so many events that you could put on in a year before you drive yourself insane. Like between Black Series Most Wanted and then Order 66, March Madness, and then this other event that I'm planning for TVC in May or June for Clone Troopers, it's kind of like my head is just spinning all the time. You're trying to keep up with life and your own channel and such. But I wouldn't count it out. I always say everything's on the table. I wouldn't ever count stuff out. Renault, as I'm still in the process of selling all my clones, I posted them in the Discord yesterday and waited 4 hours. No takers. If you want to buy some Clone Trooper Black Series figures, go to the Blitz Transmissions Discord there. Renault as was posting in the Trading Post channel. Doing in the dog days of summer. Hey, maybe, man. Unfortunately, where I work, though, summertime is the busiest time of the year. And a lot of times I work 16-hour days. But again, it's not off the table. If I'm feeling up to it, I might reach out to my friend Skywalker Hendricks, who is a full-time Hot Toys collector, and get into that. But again, one more minute. If anybody has any questions about March Madness Order 66 edition for the Black Series, please comment here on the stream. Leave a chat. I'll answer any questions. If anybody has any comments about it, if you have any concerns, please drop them in the chat right now. I will address them. And then again, please go comment on social media your most wanted clone troopers for the Black Series. Again, no redos, no updates. You have no limit to how many troopers you could put on there. If you want to do 5, if you want to do 500, you can do that. So you can also comment on multiple, yeah, so with that, guys, I am going to see myself out. So I hope you guys enjoyed the kickoff. Please go let me know what clone troopers you want in the Black Series line. And let's get this show on the road. You'll see me again on Friday, March 6th. We will do another live stream with the full reveal of the bracket. We will be executing Order 66 on March 6th. So with that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this stream. And with that, I hope you're ready for some March Madness Order 66 edition. And with that, if you do that, unless they have a name in the show, I won't put them down, but there are some. With that, guys, I hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you for the next stream. As always, may the Force be with you.
Breaking off. All units, fire at will. 1, 2, pick a target. Too many, Captain. Watch your stabilizer, Gold 6. Anybody cover me. I got 2 vultures on my tail. Gotta hold them here. Watch your left. I can't shake them. I'm hit. Where's our reinforcement?